Well, good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it is definitely a pleasure. I think I'd like to start by saying congratulations. You recently released the latest single.
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
So Vibes was released earlier in the year. Can't really remember when, but Vibes was released, and it's been doing really well. I'm more of I don't really have a lane, so I don't have like R&B, or I'm more of like whatever my soul feels like writing. So I'm just really happy that people are receptive to that, and I've just been grateful for like it being on radio and it being on playlists and stuff like that. So
well, what was your motivation for writing Vibes?
So last year during the pandemic, when it started, it was actually when the Black Lives Matter protests march happened, and I had to sing for that. And so after that, I just realized that people kept on kind of saying hi to me, and I didn't know who these people were, and all of a sudden people wanted to hang out with me, and it was like, I've never hung out with you before. So I just kind of felt a sense of loneliness the more I was hanging out around people, especially because it was kind of like, oh, it's Ife, so that's why they wanted to hang out, not to really get to know me. So because of that, I was like, I found myself kind of killing the vibe at parties. It was like a literal thing, because I was just standing there and I didn't necessarily want to be there, but I felt bad because, in university, certain pressures are there. And so I just felt like the spotlight in that moment was a bit too much, and I was just not very okay with it. So yeah, that's how I came up with Vibes.
All right, but listen, that's what celebrity that's what you get for celebrity status. You're out there and they know you sing so well, and as you said, you got such a great response from the audience. And so better get used to it.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'm there yet. Like, I need to get there, but I'm still like, just me right now.
Okay, you're just happy being you right now. Okay, then. Now, you have 2 previous singles you released.
Yeah.
Tell us about those then.
All By Myself and Go Slow. So I actually recently started releasing songs. So I'd been just singing and doing covers from like 2017 to 2020, and then 2020 was the first release. And so I really just try and write about what's happening. It's like a journal of my life and what's happening in that moment of my life. So relationships, family, and all that type of stuff. So it's just been a really good process and a really good outlet for me. And then I did find that everyone kind of relates to it. But I'm trying to get into writing, faster songs, because we don't need people crying all the time.
Well, it's cathartic, Yes. Yeah, but that's good. Well, congratulations, you're doing, so well with that. And in addition to your musical career, you are a producer and host of Being Black in NL. So tell us how you got into that in the first place.
So I was hosting a TV show called Stuffed, and so that was doing really well and it was getting really good reception. And during the Black History Month, I got a call from producers that they wanted me to do something during that month. And so I came up with the idea, Being Black in NL. And from there, it kind of just spiraled from just being a month into being kind of more than a month, because Black History isn't just a month. So it was a really good experience to meet people that I would never normally catch myself meeting, and just the experience of a Black person in Newfoundland is really interesting, and it's interesting that we don't all have the same experience, so I'm really grateful to have been, because I'm pretty sure if I wasn't here, someone else would have done it. So I'm never like, I'm so special that it was my thing, but I'm really grateful that I was able to do that. And
that's the humble side of you. Only you can do what you do, I think. Yes. So what do you think is interesting about the Black community here?
I think it's interesting that everyone is so different, because because I always ask the question, what does Black culture mean to you? I think everyone has their own different culture, so I don't really think there's such a thing as Black culture. I think our experiences in the terms of being a minority and having to deal with problems with our skin creates a sort of black culture. But I think because especially here, we all come from so many different places, bringing different aspects from our cultures to create one culture is really cool. And it's interesting because I do see like there are less cliques because when I got here in 2017, there was like, okay, you're Nigerian, you stick with the Nigerians. You're Tanzanians, you stick with the Tanzanians. But it's not like that anymore, which is really, really cool. And I think people are more open to integrating in the community, whereas in university, I don't think we were as open as we are now. So.
Yeah. So you were born in Nigeria, you grew up in South Africa. What brought you to Canada?
School. I was gonna take a gap year. So I took a gap year. I was working for a band in South Africa called Freshly Ground. And 17-year-old me was like, I've made it in this life, so there's no need for me, because they were the biggest band in South Africa. So I was like, there's no need for me to do university anymore. I am set. I know people in the industry. I'm getting paid, and I wasn't even getting paid that much. But I was like, I have money. Yeah. I buy eggs for the house and bacon for groceries, so I'm good. And then my mom was like, no. And then so she actually had a student. She's a university professor and researcher. I'm a lecturer and researcher. So she has a student who lives in Ottawa, and he schooled here.
Okay.
So he was like, yeah, the school is great, just apply for her. And then she actually applied for me without me knowing and without my permission. And that's how I got here. So yeah, I always make a joke that she should come write the exams because I didn't sign up for that.
So, well, that's what parents do sometimes.
Yeah.
They have good intentions, you know. So you really were famous then in South Africa?
I was more behind the scenes actually in South Africa. So I would help write songs, or I was interning, so I would help maybe like organize photo shoots and come up with concepts and things like that. So it really helped in terms of my own career now, because I had to do all that work. So I'm really used to just doing that work for myself now. Of course, with the help of others, because no one is an island. But
yeah. So to what do you attribute such a strong musical background that you have?
I think my parents really pushed me. I don't ever remember a time where there wasn't some sort of music in my life. So my mom's mom, my grandma, actually, she can kind of like hear the notes and just play it on the piano. So I think maybe from there, because my mom and my dad definitely don't have anything musical around about them. But yeah, so when I came to South Africa, I just remember being in choirs and like being in orchestras and playing. I think everyone had to play the recorder in third grade.
Yeah.
So, and then from there, I just kept on doing music and it never stopped. So I was put into a music school. I did voice training all throughout, and then I was put into a music school when I was about like, I think 14, because I started homeschooling. And so my mom just enrolled me into a music school, and I took the trombone and opera lessons, and yeah.
All right, so you got the training as well as the passion. Right, so what are you studying at MUN now?
I'm doing a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology and then a minor in Communication Studies.
All right, and where are you hoping to take that to?
Nowhere at all.
Your parents got those courses all lined up for you.
Yeah, I always say like if I ever end up using my degree other than anything of like advice, I've kind of like disappointed my goal and what I want to do. Yeah, I think as a Nigerian, there's a lot of pressure to, get to, my mom's a PhD holder, my dad's a PhD holder, so there's a lot of pressure to get there, but I think I've prepared them to know that it's not going there. But it's still a good experience, and I think originally when I got here, I was like, okay, yeah, maybe I'll use my degree and stuff like that. But I think as I started growing and maybe getting out of the university scene and into the community a bit more, and getting into the arts, I think that's when I was like, okay, that's not actually what I want to do. And yeah.
All right, so that's good. We know that long-term academia is not in plans.
It is not in the plans.
So what's in the plans for the future then for you?
I think I want to get to a point with music where it sustains me personally. So apart from that, I also want to start a production company. I've just recently got into the production side of that. So I want to get into that and then start my own business. So.
All right. Okay. So, what has been the response to you as a black musician here, as well as someone who's passionate about music?
Yeah.
And, yeah. So. Mm-hmm.
Now I think it's pretty good. I think I had to change my mindset of, there's this thing where you're kind of the diversity hire, and a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to do this because I'm the diversity hire. So at first I kind of felt that way, but now, like, once people hear you, you kind of transition from that to, you know, you're just Ife, right? So now I think it's pretty good, mostly because of my shift in mindset, not necessarily because the reception is different. So I enjoy it a lot more than I did when I started.
Okay, that's great. And you'll be getting a lot more questions and requests for your performance.
Yeah, I actually performed yesterday, and then this little girl wanted to take a picture with me, and I was just like, oh, no. But it was a really nice response.
Yes, well, you're photogenic, and you're famous. You got to accept that you are famous here.
No,
we don't have too many we don't have too many singer-songwriters like you. You're very talented.
Thank you.
You're well-trained. Your voice is beautiful. We love your music, so we're really happy about that. Now, as you know, Sharing Our Cultures, we engage high school youth in a lot of various programs and projects. What would be, if you had a couple of words to say to them, what would you say about how they could, you know, be here and look to the future for themselves?
I think just like choosing a goal. I think what I definitely learned just from my upbringing is I tend to have my hand in everything, you know, and that really just spreads your resources really thin. So now I've just learned to pick and choose 3 or 4 things and go after that with everything I can. And if you end up doing that, you get a lot further. And also, I think not isolating yourself, because I think a lot of the times if you're really talented, then you tend to just think, oh, I can do it by myself and I'm like the best. But, you know, there's even if someone might not be as talented as you, there's so many people with other resources. So if you just come together, I think you could get so much further than if you're trying to go alone.
Yeah, as you said earlier, no one is an island.
Yeah.
And you do need that sort of support around you as well. And of course, you're far away from home. I'm assuming you don't have any relatives or close family here?
Not here.
Not here, okay. So how do you find that? Do you get the sort of support you need from friends or?
I do. I think the first thing I did when I got here was create a family for myself.
Okay.
Because my parents have always, I come from a family where we've always kind of brought people in, so I'm very used to stuff like that. And my mom doesn't leave me alone. She calls me like 6 times a day. And I sometimes I'm like, if she doesn't call me like 6 times, I'm like, what are you doing with your life that you're not calling me 6 times a day? But I'm very lucky to have created that family unit here where I can rely on them, and just even when I'm having an emotional day, I have people to call and be like, okay, this day kind of sucked today, and you know, just chill and make sure that we take care of each other, and that's what I appreciate.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Oh, wow, you're very beautiful, and it's a pleasure having conversations with you. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. And Sharing Our Cultures will be right back. Welcome back to Sharing Our Cultures. Joining me now in conversation is Khamadi Ojiambo, a digital artist. Welcome to Sharing Our Cultures.
Thank you very much.
Yes, now you're a digital artist. Yes. Where do you work and what do you do?
Well, I work for a company called Zorbits by Carnegie Learning.
Okay.
I'm a digital artist. My duties mainly involve animation. I do a lot of animation. We make a math platform, a digital blended learning platform that has to do with math for K to 3 and now 4 to 6. So I work more on the art side of the tech industry. So I'm more of an artist, but a digital artist, because we do a lot of animation, we do a lot of particle effects, and we're currently working on a game to teach children math, so they learn by playing this game, and it's called Zorbits. And we're also working on a one for 4 to 6 called Math Storia.
Okay.
So it has little characters that move around and jump in it, and the children play and they don't realize they're learning math, but they're actually learning as they play. So me and some of the other artists are involved in creating all of that, like creating the art side of it, so characters and the backgrounds and all the effects and how they pop up. And so in a nutshell, that's
what it is, yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot. Yeah, but I can see how that will motivate children to love math because they're all playing games.
Exactly. And in fact, what we try and do, we believe everyone is a math person, even though they may not know it.
Okay.
That everyone, like math, we often look at math as this big hurdle that we kind of need to climb over, but we honestly believe that everyone is a math person.
Okay.
So we try and, especially for children, try and make them realize this while playing the game, that they can actually do math.
Right. Yeah.
So take that obstacle of, math is such a big hurdle that we need to.
Right. Yeah. And I hear a lot of, because I'm in the schools a lot, and I hear a lot of students say, I hate math, or I can't do math, or
Exactly.
I'm not good at math,
Yeah.
you know. But so that's
I
a
was
different
one
way
of
of
those
looking
too.
at it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, growing up, I was the same way. I was okay with everything, but you'd get to math and I'd be like, I can't do this. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's good because sometimes we tend to see is a dichotomy between math and English. Well, if you're good at English, then you're not good at math.
Yes.
You're good at math, and you're good at English. But really, you could be good at both.
Yeah, exactly. And it honestly, I believe it's a frame of mind. Like once you start seeing it from a different perspective,
Yes.
Then you realize that it's not actually that difficult. And that's what we try and do. We try and create. We try and create different avenues because people learn in different ways, especially young children learn in different ways. So in the game, we try and create different avenues for different children to learn in the way that their mind works.
Okay, all right.
I'm not sure if I explained that well, but...
Well, like, is it more in terms of like some people are visual, like I'm a visual learner,
Yes.
some people are more auditory learners, some people, is it that way or sort of learn
Not
in terms?
necessarily, but more in the way you approach the question.
Okay.
So we try and structure it in such a way that you can approach the different questions or from different angles in the way your brain works,
Right.
and so thereby solve like, for example, solve equations in the way that's easiest for you, as opposed to trying to swim upstream and struggling with it all the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess you really need to know how you learn and how you best learn, and then use that as the process or the method of reaching the math.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So that's interesting. And what was your training like for this artistic work that you do?
Well, I went to school in Halifax in Nova Scotia, so I did interdisciplinary media design, bachelor in that, and then I did a postgraduate diploma in 3D animation. And before that, I was working as well, just doing different things, graphic design here and there. And so that, educational-wise, that's what I did. And then worked in Halifax for a bit, then got a job here and moved here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I was just going to say that you're originally from Kenya.
Yes.
You studied in Halifax, in Nova Scotia. So how did you end up here then?
Yeah, no, I was originally from Kenya. Then I came to Canada I thought I was following a girl, but it seems that I was following my destiny.
Yes.
Yeah, then came to Canada for school, and then afterwards worked for a bit, then ended up getting a job here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And then you moved here?
Yes, moved here. Then my wife, the girl that later became my wife, moved here. Yeah, and now we have 2 children.
All righty. Yeah. Congratulations. That's great.
Thank you.
You followed your heart and you ended up here, so that's good. We're happy about that.
Yeah.
Now, I know that you're also a musician, and you play extremely well. You're a fantastic strings player, I guess
Thank
you'll
you.
say. I know I've heard you play the guitar.
Thank you.
So where did that come from?
Well, I grew up in a family that was very musical. Both my mom and dad played guitar, and they were both singing. They used to sing in a band and sing at church too.
Okay.
So I grew up around that a lot. My dad was always playing, my mom was always singing. And my mom used to make us sing. Then we didn't like it. So we were that family where we'd go somewhere, like a family event, and my mom would be like, all right, Obi, come here and we'll sing. And all the kids are like, no, this is embarrassing. We don't want to do this.
Yeah.
But now I'm thankful for it because it ingrained a lot of that musical sensibility in us at a young age.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what kinds of songs, music do you like to play, or instruments you play?
Well, I'm a bit kind of all over the place. I tend to gravitate more towards jazz, sort of jazz funk.
Okay.
That's what I enjoy playing.
All right.
But in terms of musical influences, I listen to a whole gamut of things. I listen to jazz, I listen to reggae, I listen to country, I listen to pretty much all genres.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything with live instruments, I find energizes me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you end up playing some of these as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so that's really great. So when you arrived here in the province, did you have any family members, or did you have any friends, or did you just, how did that happen for you?
Actually, when I arrived here, I only knew one person. There was one person that I was in school with who was working at the company that I joined.
Oh, okay.
And so he was my only contact here.
Okay.
So I didn't know anyone here. So it took me a bit of time to get into the community, so to speak, because I'm quite introverted. So I'm not someone who just get there and go look for things. So it took me a while to sort of form a community base, so to speak.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how did you do that? What helped you? Because I'm thinking of other newcomers coming here, without having any family. What did you do? How did you do it? Because I know now you have a great, large community of people and people who support you. But how did you do that?
For me, it was, to be honest, it was mainly the church I attend called Bethesda.
Okay.
And I started playing guitar there, and then got to know a few people, and also meeting people there every so often, and that way built up a community and got to know different people, so that really helped me to integrate into the St. John's community.
All right.
Yeah.
And so have you seen anywhere else outside of St. John's? Have you had a chance to see the rest of the province?
Yes, actually, we just came back we went camping a week ago.
Okay.
So we got to travel all the way down to Corner Brook, Shallow Bay,
Okay, all right.
So that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
You got a chance to do that
Yes.
with the family?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So if someone's coming here, what do they need to know in terms of how they can settle here and build a support and, feel at home here? What do you think would help them? I mean, you came here, but you came here because you had work.
Yes.
Right? So that sort of was your connection. But say other people coming, we really want to increase our population. Yeah. How we do that?
I think as a newcomer, a lot of times we tend to shy away from things, and I know I was the same way.
Okay.
But my advice would be like to go out there, see things. Like if there's a farmer's market, go to the farmer's market. You'll end up meeting really nice people. If there's a musical event or an art viewing or something of the sort, just don't just assume, no, that's not my thing, or
Right.
go out there, get to meet people, get to see different things, and in that way you get to start building your community. You meet, as we say at work, you kind of find your tribe, because you find people
Yes.
who are like mind, things, who do the same things you like, and
Yeah. And that makes it a lot easier once you can do
Exactly.
that. And I think it's getting out, because most times people feel that, the local people have to reach out to us. But we have a responsibility as well.
Yes.
We have to say, okay, so this is happening, or this is what's going on here, then maybe I can have a look at it, I can try this, and, help build your community
yes,
that way as well.
It's definitely a two-way road,
Right, yeah. Thank you so much for coming. It's really been a pleasure having you here today.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, and thanks to Ife Alaba for also being with us. And we're going to wrap up the show now with some music from JJ.